we do lots of things here, right? We have to make sure how are we doing as a team, right? How are we doing as a team? How are we working as a team? How are we delivering to the customer? How is the customer happy, right? So Jishan, I would let you crack this, and then I'll jump in later, right?
Sure. We little bit discussed this thing. I shared one example when the one of the my previous assignment, someone is asking how many commits one individual is doing, and yes, that is a metrics. But it does not mean if you can measure something, it does not mean that you have to measure all these things. So measure what is important. Usually, I give another example that suppose you are a passenger in the aeroplane, and what information you are actually looking at your entertainment screen. Most likely, you are getting the information what is your height, what is the current temperature, what is the time for destination, how long your flight is remaining, how long you have been in the air, or something like that. Maybe sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. But take a look at the situation of the pilot who is in the cockpit right now. The pilot has tons and tons of meters. I'm not an astronomical guy. I don't know all these details, but I'm just guessing that the information might be what is the burn rate, how much fuel is remaining, what is the RPM, what is the angle of attack, and tons of information. Do you think all this information is suitable for the passenger who is sitting in the plane? Probably not. It is just a noise. So we can measure a lots of different things, but it does not mean we have to measure all these things. Just like we can measure how many commits one developer is doing on a daily basis, but do we really need to measure that thing? Is it really going to add any value? So this is what we are going to discuss here about the flow matrix. And what does it mean by the flow matrix? So flow matrix is we are going to measure that is helping us to understand what is the current stage of flow. And when I said the flow, it means flow of the value to the stakeholders, flow of the value to the customer. So we are going to measure how good our flow is. And these are the four metrics we are going to discuss that actually help us to understand what is our current state of the flow. Sharath, anything from your side?
Nope. So go ahead, Jishan. I'm looking at the time, and then go ahead, please. We'll have to get.
Okay, sure. Sure. So these are the four basic flow metrics. So cycle times actually help us to understand if we started something from start to end, how long does it take? Obviously, the longer the cycle times, the less frequent we will get the feedback. It is something very similar to if we start our journey to the reaching somewhere in a destination, then how much time it is going to take to reach the destination. Right. Work in progress. Sir, do you want to add something?
No. I just want to echo what you said, right? So if you're looking at your Kanban board, it's the cycle time starts when you move your ticket from to do to in progress. The time the ticket goes into in progress from the time to it's completed. The work you started the work, from the time you started the work to complete the work is what the cycle time is. So Jishan, yeah, that's all I want to add there.
Thank you, Sharath. So work in progress, how many items are currently in flight? It is different than work in progress limit. There is a possibility you might have work in progress limit like 5, like at particular time cannot be more than 5. But in this moment, you only have 3. So your WIP is 3. It is something similar to how many vehicles are on the freeway at one particular time. How many books I am reading right now. How many planes are on the runway to take off. So this is WIP. Throughput is how much work we have completed per unit time. Per unit time can be a day, can be a week, can be a month, whatever your unit time is. It is something like how many books I have completed, whatever my time frame is. How many cars have been reaching to the destination and one particular time, whatever the time frame is. So that is a throughput. Work item age is we have started some work, but it hasn't finished yet. On average, how much work item has been completed and defined in duration. Thank you. Yep. So in work item, that's pretty much like a little bit more formal definition. Yeah. And work, I'm just trying to cover all these things at one thing. Sure. So we will get enough time for you to have a question and answer with us. Did you say that the work in progress cannot be more than 5 parts? Just to clarify, please. No, I'm not saying this thing. In some cases, it is you have to violate the WIP limit. For example, all of a sudden, you got the expedite. Just take a look at the emergency ward of the hospital. If your doctor are treating only 5 passengers at 5 patients at a time, and all of a sudden some critical patients come, what your doctor are going to say? No, we are not treating that patient. Let that patient die. So sometimes, depend on the situation, you violate the WIP limit. But obviously, it should be exceptional cases. There should be some clearly defined policies, make policies explicit in which particular case you can violate the WIP limit. Because if you're not doing this thing, then everyone will say my work is expedite and violate the WIP limit, and it will go to the chaos.
Yep.
So work item age, you started something, but you haven't finished yet. It is still in flight. And this is a very important distinction, because if it finished, then it becomes a cycle time. So just imagine you start driving to your destination, but you haven't reached your destination yet. So how much time has been passed? You are still on the driving mode. And when you reach the destination, it becomes a cycle time. Why this is important? Because you are still in flight. Now you can make the course correction. Now you can say, okay, my work item age has been increasing. What can I do to make it sense? So I will go to my destination quickly. I will still achieve my service level agreement or service level expectation. So this is a one very broad, quick overview of the flow matrix. There can be a lot of detailed conversation about in this one. So I just want to give it back to the Sharad. So in case if he wants to add some dimension in this one.
Right. So yeah, since taking time into consideration, we can talk here for hours and hours and hours together, but we are trying to cut it down to as small as possible into very less sentences, right? So why does this metrics matter? Cycle time matters because the customer wants to know when he gets what he has ordered or what he is waiting for. The WIP, the amount of work in progress, decides what the customer gets and when he gets it, right? The throughput is also dependent on WIP because the amount of work that is in progress also decides that how much work can be completed in a given point of time, right? So ideally, the cycle time and throughput are totally dependent on WIP that we have. And so anything and every metrics that you have to track, you have to make sure you put your customer in place, in middle, and then think about them, right? So work item age, you can look into it in every column. Let's just say your work item has been staying there in your design phase of workflow for like 10 days. You know that this particular work item is there for 10 days, and you know that there is a problem in this particular thing. The age has been adding and adding and adding. You know there is a problem. So that's where defining your right workflow and then tracking how many days the particular work item is being in a particular stage of this workflow also will help you to understand where you lack as a team in the whole process.